How's it going? Okay, let's play with this. I already brought something up on TikTok, but now we're going to expand a tad bit further on this. The yes but mentality. This stuff that's kind of stuck in our language, but again, as you guys know, language leads to thoughts, leads to actions. Or it also leads to possibility of thoughts and possibility of action. So, what's up with this yes but? Well, okay. Oftentimes you would bring an option to somebody, you know, a different kind of, as I use as an example, a different kind of science, a different kind of option, a different kind of possibility, a different kind of, you know, way to think, or a different perspective, viewpoint on a specific situation. And you would often kind of get the yes but. And it oftentimes you kind of go, wait, what's up with that? Because the option is still there. Or you kind of go, yes, but. It's kind of like saying, yes, but this overlaps. And it's like, no. All options are still there. You know, there's multiple other options. You can select this, you can select that, you can select this, you can look at this, you can practice that. So what's with this habit of just kind of going, yes, but? This, as if there was only one option, one way to do things, and one way to see things. You guys remember my quote unquote, huh? School programming. Gotta love that. Right on the moment, just straight up school programming. Because, hey, you had to get the one right equation, you had to get the one right answer, and you had to follow the herd, or else you would get all that pressure with lower marks. You understand, all that psychological brainwashing. I think I did a video on that, didn't I? Or maybe I need to do a sum. This could be a topic that will come up later. And it's not to shit on school. It's just certain practices that haven't been understood, how they affect the subconscious over time. Meaning, again, giving that glance of compassion because it's there. It's not yes, but it's there. Meaning the teachers, they don't necessarily follow up with their students 5, 10, 20 years after. They don't necessarily see the momentum of what their practice is doing. So it ain't on them. It's just something that is there and can't be ignored at this point. So going back to the yes but mentality, I want to get the grade, I want to get the right mark, I want to get the right answer. So it's got to be one way, the popular way, okay? And you saw how in history that fucked with things, right? Whoever still want to argue and debate this, yo, go back to when Christianity was the one and done thing, especially in the West, and how you would be treated if you weren't necessarily following this, or if you were born in a with a different, you could say complex, or if you're born with a different orientation, you know, or if you were just born with a different mindset and saw how you didn't fit into that box. Shame, shame, shame. Social ostracization. Ooh, is that very close to something that's happening now, right? You can't ignore it. Now, here's the thing. If certain people are feeling offended and feeling targeted, that's another case of programming, and we're going to try to tackle that down at another point, because it's very interesting how just being overly identified with an opinion, with a state of mind, with a way of being, causes this kind of, oh, let me talk about how that can be similar. Ooh, offended. That's a problem. You know why? Because later on in life, you're going to meet different kind of opinions, you're going to meet different kind of options, and this all kind of flows in, right? The yes but mentality, I want to stick to my identity, I want to stick to that one opinion, I want to stick to that one science or that one religion, and completely ignore the fact that there is multiple... How many are we in this fucking planet? 8 billion and then some. How many cultures, right? Thousands. How many interpretations of that one energy when it comes to the Bible or source or spirituality? Fuck ton. How many kind of medicinal practices, right? A shit ton. How many testimonials? Fuck ton. People who actually practiced it, tested it out, and got it working. So what's this thing about the yes but? You really want to anchor that shit down in your mind, because if you still have that mindset for one thing, whether it be science, whether it be religion, whether it be the way that you're feeling, whether it be your psychological state, okay? If you're only following one doctrine instead of looking at the multiple aspects, you are done. Why? Evolution takes the cake. You don't adapt. So you're not ready to evolve. And when an event has you forcefully evolve and adapt, and you're just so stuck and anchored into a one and done type of deal, You're done. There's been civilizations that have fucked up because of that. And they're gone. You know? You want to keep that in mind. And that even goes with some of the most cruel shit happening in history. Dictatorships, you know? You could straight up even go with communism. There's a point where there is a forceful adaptation, whether it be by nature or just by society in general. You know, just by the human condition and human living to its truest potential. The aspect that you are meant to integrate as much as you can and blend and then bring out your own combination that's going to inspire other people. That's your truest potential. Not just one box, one way of thinking, and one and done type of deal. It's not. That's limiting your truest potential. That's limiting the species' potential. And every time that has happened in history, done. No adaptation? Okay, that group of people is just gone. It sucks, but at the same time, it doesn't. Yes, but at the same time. And at the same time, it doesn't. Because that's how we got to this point. Think of it this way. What if people were still stuck in the old school religious aspect? Oh my God. There wouldn't be any kind of black movements. There wouldn't be any kind of movement. Any Asian, any Hispanic movements. There wouldn't even be an LGBTQ area. Think about it. Just look at that timeline just to be sure. No. You don't dodge this. You pause the video. You close your eyes. You put your VR and you check that timeline. Look at how fucked up that would be, right? No women's rights. It would have been like, just keep that idea in mind. You really want to anchor that shit if you want to say, look at history. Look at what happened in history. Yeah. Look at the alternative timeline if that kind of evolution process didn't forcefully push itself. Same kind of goes why now kids are being much more respected. They're respectfully treated because we saw that the whole, oh, kids are only meant to be seen. You should shut up and follow. We saw how that fucked with things. Homeless crisis. You guys think there's no granular factor to that? You guys simply think in this one and done mentality, oh, it's because they don't want to work. Fuck you. There's so much with your subconscious programming that you are not aware of. But if you stay in this, oh, listen to the popular general message. Don't look at the interconnecting dots. Don't look at all the other sciences that we have that can help you, your whole well-being and benefit. Oh, don't look at that, right? And then I don't want to call you ignorant. I don't want to call you arrogant. But the behavior is ignorant and arrogant. So that behavior of just calling them out, just judging people, and it's generally judging, you know, saying, oh, they don't necessarily want to work. Oh, they're just fuck up. Oh, there's just this, you know. That's so arrogant, ignorant, and it doesn't take, in fact, those granular details. You see, it's not the person that's arrogant or ignorant. It's the mindset led to. Nobody's born with that mindset. Remember, there's a lot of programming with that school, with that television, with that media. Some of this has to be faced. And again, this is not a personal fault. All that shit was subtle. It's like, if you knew, would you have still let yourself be programmed, right? If you knew, like, let's say, and this is something I always kind of bring up. Why weren't we told about this first grade? I don't care if you think it's complex. You can break it down for a kid. It's simple. I could fucking break it down for you. I do it all the time. And yes, there's some hour videos, but then you go check on TikTok, 3 minutes, bam. Still got questions? Put them in the comments. Do not be afraid. This isn't like school where it's going to be like, how dare you not get the right answer the first time? You should be like everyone else. The hive mind mentality does not work because that would be expecting me to have the same mindset, which would equal the same studies, the same amount of time of studying, the same amount of time of practice, the same amount of time of cross-referencing, the exact same material, and that is insanity. Casually accepted social insanity, as I wrote in the prior video as well. But it's insanity. And it's about fucking time not to accept this shit. So, what's up with the yes but? Right? Multiple dots, multiple practices. multiple testimonials. It's out there for you to test it out. And for all you gamer friends, okay, because I was gaming, still gaming from time to time, but not as much before because I want to keep that mind clean. Got to be playful with this. Yet, for you gamers out there, if you were to play an MMORPG, or you were simply, oh yeah, any kind of RPG, okay? Would you collect skill sets, but would you collect skill sets from various other towns, from various other areas of the map, even secret dungeons? Would you pile up your skill set for it to better your life and help your life? Would you? Or would you stay to the first town and its first training bunker with that concentrated, limited amount of skill set, right? How would you apply the same mindset for your life? Because right now, I'm seeing a lot of people in this big MMORPG. We're playing PvE, meaning player versus the world, all the other monsters per se, you know, the viruses and all that, okay? We're playing PvE, yet most of this crew is sticking to the first town because the mayor said, yo, we got the best weapons, we got the best skills, we got the best. And it's like there's a whole map, a whole world out there, including Galaxy, but you know, they ain't even fucking close to getting there. Because they're like, yo, first town, this is, I heard it's the best. I gotta trust the first town. I gotta trust that skill set. Okay, well, every other players that just move outside of it, they're just building up, getting multiple skill sets, testing them out in battle, just going, okay, well, if I combine this skills with that skills, that's awesome. This solo doesn't necessarily work, but if I make a combination, I can get something going. I could also make team-up attacks, you know? Again, natural potential. It's your natural species potential, okay? Or do you want to stay in the first town and just go, I gotta trust this because I'm being told to trust this by the NPC? You really gonna trust an NPC to run your life? An NPC that's not going to live in your party, that's never going to see your life through your eyes, that's never going to make the same logical understandings and connection on a day-to-day base? An NPC that's just going to put you in a box and go, yo, follow this because you got to follow this. This is how everything works. Why you be basic? Not by your fault. Programming's a bitch. What do I mean by programming? I had this interesting, very interesting experience of listening to the radio after, years. And seeing this nice little pattern. Tell me if you kind of notice this, okay? Music, commercial break. Please, go do this. Because this is going to help everyone else. This is a message by your overseer. Just replace some of those words with some of your familiar programming. I noticed it every fucking break, and I'm like, wow, if we had that kind of programming just to tell you how, I don't know, how fucking awesome you are as a species, especially using quantum physics, metaphysics, neurology, neurolinguistic programming, meditation, mantras, affirmation, you know, if we had that repeated every break, commercial break, I think we would have planetary unity by now. Yeah, I can definitely see that. You know, just every time, every commercial break. Remember, people, you are not born with your thoughts, with your words, and your ideology. All that shit was given to you, passed on by your prior mentality that had it passed on, and all that shit just changes every 5 to 10 years, or even faster. So please remember, do not make it your identity because it'll change. And you are an ever-changing, ever-expanding, ever-growing, and ever-evolving being. So stay that way and stay awesome. Planetary Unity. Have that running every fucking day, every fucking commercial. Done. Oh, but what am I saying? Unity does not bring the cash to the governments. I'm sorry, it does not. There's always a bit of an agenda in the back, and if you're still stressed out about this, don't be. Petty people losing power. Ignore. All right, just focus on yourself. Work on yourself. All right. And by that, you leveling up and getting that skill set, that expanded skill set, you're naturally benefiting to everyone else. Because you're not, you know, locked into a box that is going to make you react to anything that even comes close to that box. Like, even talking about the box can get people to react. It's kind of nutty now. But it happens. That's programming. And when you are consciously aware of it, repetition, repetition, repetition. It's all about repetition. Literally. When you are conscious and aware of that, and you are able to spot the repetitions and their timing, flip the edge. Ain't no yes, but. It's yes, and. And if you want to stick to your limiting belief and limited option, it is your choice. Program choice, but it is your choice. Yet all the other options are around, and you have options. You can choose them. You can combine them later on. You can make them fit in your own unique flow. See, you're not a rigid identity. You're ever flowing, but you do have a pattern and a playfulness to it. So you kind of want to get used to non-duality flowing. Everything is and everything isn't at the same time. All the options are there. You may have a limited spec of what you can do, but it is still bigger than the one and done type of deal. Always is. You just kind of have to let yourself look at the potentiality and possible options out there. Or just ask questions without feeling offended if you don't necessarily fit into one box or another. It's okay. You will find the options that kind of work. Just give it a shot. Again, 5 minutes to do an exercise. You fucking go on that TikTok and do the ladder exercise, or just do the neuro-linguistic programming exercise I played with, you know, with the arm up front. Test that out. 3 minutes. Not even 5, but 3 minutes. Or do you want to go back and binge watch your Netflix and just get even more programming, limited beliefs and all that? It's not to say that it's bad. Entertainment is not bad. It's just that you want to set up your priorities. And you also want to understand the patterns that you are repeating by the behavior of binge watching. Not just when it comes to TV and movies, but video games as well, and some of your musics as well. Again, it's not complete cancel. It's just being more and more mindful of what you're listening to, what thoughts are being brought to your head, and how you begin to think and speak, which then shows you what is your perceptual lens. How many blind spots are you being placed with the one and done mentality? Especially when it comes to too long. Okay, well, I'm sorry, you don't necessarily want to take that amount of time. And it gets to the point, and you know, I've hammered this enough time, yet it gets to the point where, do you really care about your life? What does it mean to care about your life to you? Is it handing it off to someone else's explanations? Or are you going to take the step-by-step, day-by-day, hour-by-hour exercises to get to that point where you want, right? This is basically the question you kind of want to ask yourself. How much do I care about my life? Because if you're going to leave it on one source that doesn't necessarily have your benefits in mind, because it's a hive mind type of mentality. It's like, oh, General Slate, everyone should fit this. Doesn't work. So are you going to work with that? And you still say that you care about your life? And you still say you care about other people's lives? Because you're still considering this hive mind aspect, so you're willingly just kind of going, everyone's the same, right? Body's the same, right? Mindset's the same, right? No. Doesn't make sense. And then you want to ask yourself, and that's the triggering question for a lot of people, how would it feel if somebody else with that same general hive mind mentality would force their hive mind on you? Would force their limited, one and done, one perception, one way of doing things on you? How would that feel? Oh, we've seen that in history. We've seen that in history, guys. It's not really that good. You don't even need to look at history. Look at North Korea and China. That's straight. Social credit. How does that feel, right? How does it all feel? Just ask yourself, how would it feel? You really want to pause the video and ask yourself, just go into those questions. It's no longer time to evade. It's no longer time to duck, okay? It's acknowledge it is there. It is not necessarily the choice that you want to make. It is there. Are you unconsciously doing it? If you're not conscious of it, that's okay. Again, programming's a bitch. Literally. I'm not fucking around with this. This isn't to be cute or snarky. It's programming's a bitch. And you're talking to a person that had 30-something years of doing so and just decided, yo, what the fuck's going on? It's not impossible. Okay? So, I'm here to help you guys, motivate you guys in that sense. Here to answer your questions. Yet you still have to ask yourself those questions and do the work. If you're not going to do it and still ask, still ask questions or just kind of go, oh, it didn't work for me. How many times have you tried it? Not one and done. Again, no more one and done. Spend that time. Level grind that shit. You can have a person like to lay out a certain amount of skill set, but you still got to practice it. Right? And you also want to ask yourself, what got you into that state without judging yourself? Never judge yourself. Again, programming is a bitch. When you don't understand how subtle the subconscious is, and then you start picking it apart, you start to pull that wire, shit gets quite interesting. And you also grow a lot of compassion for everyone else stuck in that mode. Alright? That's why I say there's no sheeps, there's no drones. Ain't none. I'm taking that out of my dialogue. I couldn't care less if people around me, even in the spiritual circle, go sheep and drone. And not all of them are saying that, but some still have that mentality, and it's like, no, there's none of that. Programming's a bitch. We didn't necessarily expect all this shit to happen when we accepted those devices and media, but now we're balancing it out. Understanding that everything is an aspect of repetition, getting into your subconscious mind, giving you a framed perception of life. At times very limited. Trust this one thing. Only do that because everyone else does so or is told to be doing so. Remember, told. So, again, yes, but. Ain't no yes, but. It's yes, and. And you get to choose. Okay? Yes, but there's this. No. Yes, and. And you get to choose. Do you want to stay limited? Or do you want to start exploring and testing out other options that will bring you benefit? That's how you grow. Do you want to stay in Town 1 and just solely go with Town 1 skills and Town 1's item? Or do you want to expand beyond the world map? Build that skill set. Create some team-up combos. Grow. And then help your next parties, you know? Who do you want to team up with? Person that stays on Town 1? Or person that's going to go out there, gather multiple skill, even find some of that secret levels. And level grind it there, practicing some of those secret techniques and just kind of going, yeah, okay, I used to be stuck in Town 1, but then I went outside and I found multiple other cool shit. And I'm here to help you. But I'm going to facilitate it for you. It's not that you're weak. You're not weak. You're capable of doing that, of going out there. I'm just going to facilitate it for you. I'm just going to bring you that information and say, yo, try it out. Find your own combination. But you actually have to do the work and grind it out. All right? How much do you care for your life? Are you going to grind it out to get a good life? Or are you going to stay in Town 1? You got options. Ain't no more yes, but. Play with this, all right? And again, programming's a bitch. So if you feel an emotional reaction and if you feel accused, ask yourself, what in my perception gets me to feel this way? It's all perception, okay? Once you understand you weren't born with those perceptions, those words, those definitions, thus you weren't born with the feeling licks, the emotional reaction to those words and definition, then you start asking, then you start doing that kind of work at night, going, okay, what in my perception is getting me to react and feel this way? And you find answers. Clear it up. You got this. Yo, it's GG Unity's inevitable. It's just now, let's speed it up before you get another one and done with a, 5 to 6 booster DLC that haven't worked. If your game's broken from the get-go, you can't just force your game on other people. Get the season pass. No, don't. You got this, people. Any more questions? Feel free, set them in the comment. It's all open, all allowed. And at the same time, want to thank people for the discussions on Facebook and Instagram. It's been fantastic. More new materials are kind of coming up from that. And at the same time, thank you for all who kind of donated on a PayPal. Same kind of goes for the podcast donations. You rock. It's really fun just to let this flow, having this back and forth, getting this connection and understanding at how we were differently and at the same time similarly programmed. Again, non-duality is something we're all juggling with, but we're getting through this, and this cooperation is helping everyone. So kick some ass, have a good one, and please do the work. Revise your priority. Do a list exercise. What are your priority? Okay, life, or is it Netflix, or is it binge watching? Like, you just want to set up a list. Ask yourself, okay? And there's nothing against a little entertainment. Just priorities. Welcome to non-duality, getting into the complexity and nuances. It's not just one and done and hive mind. So let's do this, people. Kick some ass.